Hey everybody, it's Drama Tuesday. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick. I'm gonna tell you about drama and news that doesn't actually matter in the world. I've been getting countless suggestions to talk about this story the past few weeks, but finally it has come to some sort of end, so I'm here to talk about it. A reminder that I am not a professional when I talk about these matters. I'm not like a good journalist. I'm just here to talk to the camera, and you're here to set it down while you're doing something else so you can have someone talking in the background. If you're new here, this is my second channel. I have a main channel, but we're trying to beat it in subscribers. So you should subscribe to me right now if you want. It doesn't matter if you don't want to. I'll probably show up again at some point. And another reminder, almost every day on my Instagram story, I'm asking you guys questions about what I should talk about or what's going on or really anything. So if you want to talk to me there, go to Instagram at @nickisnotgreen. I'm also on every other social media, same handle, okay? Let's get into it. Let's just jump right into it right now. So today we're talking about the Taylor Swift and Matty Healy news. Matty Healy. Just a joke. Of course, I know who Matty Healy is. I was in high school. I was a big fan of the 1975. I saw them a few times in concert, and it's a band. Yeah, the 1975 is a band. Matty Healy is the lead singer. Taylor Swift, another singer. You guys probably don't know her. Just yesterday, we found out the devastating news that these two split up. You know, we thought they were going to be a dream team. Everyone was rooting for them. Not so much, though. Not so much at all. The easiest way to explain this in a big blurb is that Taylor Swift started dating another singer who her fans find problematic, and so there's a lot of backlash over it, but just yesterday, they broke up. They broke up after a month or two. But you all know that. You just want the tea from me. You want to hear me give my take on it. I tweeted out they should call the show Taylor, Rick, and Matty Healy. I tweeted that, and I don't think people thought it was that funny. Thinking back on it, it was probably a mistake. But yeah, I have a history with the 1975. I used to be a fan of them when I was in high school. I have kind of stopped listening to their music in the past few years because I'm just not what I'm into. But Matty Healy himself has always been an interesting figure and a controversial one at that. Oh yeah, I also wanted to ask what stories you want me to cover next. I was either going to talk about George Not Found from Minecraft. Everyone hates that guy now, apparently. All the Minecraft stans hate him. And then the other thing was the new show, The Idol, on HBO, that Sam Levinson show that's got a bunch of controversy. I'll talk about one of those probably on Friday. Okay, let's jump into it. Since 2015, the past 8 years, people have been spreading rumors that Matty Healy of the 1975 and Taylor Swift were dating. Now, I didn't know this at the time because I'm not super plugged in with the Swifties. Since 2015, Taylor's been dating a few different guys. Apparently, they're all like British, which I didn't realize. I didn't even know this Joe Alwyn guy was British. Everyone's talking about Joe Alwyn. I am not fit for this job. They threw me into the TikTok drama corner of YouTube, and it's fun, so I'm doing it, but I'm not good at it. Okay? You have to remember when you're watching me that I'm not going to give you like really good, solid news. I got to stop having this imposter syndrome, though. I'm good at this. I'm really good at this. So Taylor put out this album last year called Midnights or whatever. Massive album. Did it come out this year or last year? It's not my problem, okay? But I'm only bringing that up because it was like confirmed that Matty Healy or all of the 1975 collaborated with Taylor on her new album, but their songs never actually made it out. So anyways, April 2023 comes around. The Swifties are freaking out because she broke up with her boyfriend Joe Alwyn, apparently British. Everyone thought they were perfect for each other, and they were upset because they were like, everything was going so well, except they didn't know if it was actually going well or not, because you don't really know any of these people's real lives. But a lot of Swifties tried to pretend like they understood what was going on when really nobody does, because these are just like regular people who do private regular people things. And everything can look good on the outside from the one picture you get every few weeks of them from the paparazzi, but that doesn't mean it's great. It doesn't mean it's like going the best, right? So all of a sudden these guys break up and Matty Healy enters the picture. He's back in the picture. He starts showing up to Taylor Swift shows and he starts playing with Phoebe Bridgers on stage because she's opening for Taylor, this and that, blah, blah, blah. The point is, he's at the shows now, okay? People start freaking out. Matty Healy's at the shows, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. He's British. And so all these little hints start coming out during the shows, okay? They're doing these little cryptic messages. You start seeing Matty and Taylor in the same place together at the same studio. All of a sudden, they're like saying similar cryptic messages on stage to each other. I'll show the clips of that. They were caught like holding hands or something, I guess. And during one of the Taylor Swift shows, Matty was seen with Taylor Swift's dad. So all of a sudden the Swifties go into this like outbreak because suddenly Matty Healy is in the picture for Taylor Swift and they do not like that. Why are they mad about that? Well, let's talk about it. Matty Healy has had a long list of controversies over the past few years that have made people who are fans of Taylor Swift not very happy with him. Now, all of these controversies to say, I do think that Matty Healy is a good artist. I think he makes great art. I don't know if he makes a great guy, though. Okay? Let's start listing the controversies. Now, my least favorite one, that was something that has been happening for years now, is that Matty Healy likes to kiss fans on the mouth while he's performing on stage.
That he was cool with it. Video footage from the kiss has since gone viral on Twitter, and it seems to have left fans divided.
It's something that has happened multiple times at shows, and people have confirmed that he like asks their age so he knows that he has consent before he kisses them. But most fans of the 1975 are female minors who cannot kiss a grown man. And so despite whether or not someone's showing him a license or like an ID or whatever so he can kiss them, it doesn't change the fact that it's weird. Maybe it stops him from being a criminal on accident, because if he didn't do it, he'd be kissing all of these young women. But that doesn't suddenly mean it's okay, because I hear a lot of people go, oh, it's so gross, Matty Healy kisses on stage, and then some 1975 fan is like, no guys, but he actually asked the girl for her ID before he kissed her. No dude, that doesn't make it any better. That makes it almost weirder. It makes it like, I don't know, this whole thing's gross. I've never been a fan of when artists do that, or they do really anything that's like romantic with people who are at the front stage of their concert, because most likely if you're at the barricade at a 1975 show, you are a big fan of the 1975. And then he also, like, there's videos of girls like reaching out towards his face while he's singing to them at the show, and then he starts sucking on their fingers. Are you kidding me? You cannot suck on a fan's fingers. You shouldn't be sucking on their mouths. You shouldn't be spitting in their mouths. I don't know if he's the one that spits in fans' mouths. That might have been JPEG Mafia. I think Slow Tide does that. I don't like that. And then I remember seeing a clip a few months ago where all these people who were fans of Matty Healy were like, they were like gushing over the fact that at a show, he like grabbed one of the cameraman's heads and put like the camera on his crotch and just like and the comments were all at the time like, oh, this is so hot, I wish I was the camera, I wish I was the cameraman, it's so hot the way he grabs the back of this guy's head and shoves it towards his crotch. It is not. It's gross. You're a weirdo if you do that. You're weird if you've ever wanted to do something like that on either end. It should not be okay to glorify this kind of sexual harassment, especially when it's on stage in front of a ton of people when you can't really do anything. You're trying to do your job. The cameraman's trying to do his job. And despite whether or not there was like some consent before or after it, it's just not a good display of, I don't know, it's not a good example. You're not setting a very good example, Morty. Okay? Morty, you're not setting a very good example. Next up, the raw meat situation. There were people who were really upset and grossed out with Matty Healy, I guess, eating like raw meat on stage for one of the parts of their set when they were playing a show. And it was like supposed to be this, I think, like art thing, but people found it disgusting. And like, especially people who like don't, like when people eat meat, it's probably not very fun to be at a concert and see a guy like downing a raw bloody beef at a show. You understand what I'm saying? Not that I'm like saying we need to make the vegetarians feel comfortable in the place, but could he at least do something a little less like barbaric, you know? There's like blood and meat juice everywhere. It's just, I don't know. No one is looking at that part of the performance and that part of your art and enjoying it. But on the other hand, that's not to say that all art is meant to be enjoyed. Some art is meant to be disgusted. The point of art is to evoke an emotion in people and evoke an emotion out of yourself to create something. So does that make it okay? Or is it just weird? Again, I think it's a little weird. Sometimes people think that just because you aren't breaking the law, it means everything's okay, but we're allowed to say that shit is weird, you know? You can say that. Next controversy. I'm just listing off this guy's controversies. I'm going to cancel him. I'm going to ruin his career. There was this thing when they were performing one of their songs, Love It If We Made It, a classic 1975 song, and there's a part of the song where he says, "Thank you, Kanye, very cool," and he's quoting Donald Trump tweeting that out to Kanye. And while he's singing that lyric, he does like a Nazi salute on stage. And people took it the wrong way, obviously, because it's like you're doing this salute on stage, and most of the people in the audience aren't going to make the connection that it's like Donald Trump tweeting about Kanye and Kanye's doing all of the like Nazi shit. I don't know if people can all see that and understand it in real time. So I feel like doing a Nazi salute on a nuanced thing, probably not the best choice at a concert. People were not happy about that. Like, I understand where he's coming from. Performance art can be interpreted in a lot of different ways, and it can be performed in a lot of different ways. But I don't know if their audience demographic is huge on that kind of performance art when it comes to the raw meat and the Nazi salutes. What's next? The Ice Spice thing. A lot of people probably heard about the Ice Spice thing. Okay, Marty went on this podcast called The Adam Friedland Show. That is this very satirical show that was created out of another podcast called Come Town, which also had a lot of satirical, like the whole like edgy comedy type thing. And a lot of the jokes on that show, at least from what I understand, are made to be overly offensive and edgy and like to a dumb extent. Like, it's supposed to be making fun of people who would be that bigoted. But Matty Healy joined in on this podcast, and there was a part of the show where they were talking about Ice Spice, and they like compared her to like a Chinese lady and were saying that she was like native and all, like, I don't know, they were making all these weird jokes. I'll play the clip, but people were very upset about it.
Ice Spice, you know who that is?
Nick doesn't know who it is.
She's like
one of the Spice Girls.
Yes, that's
she's
right.
like this rapper.
She's the rapper
that
from
has
the Spice
one-
Girls.
Inuit Spice Girl. Just this chubby Chinese lady. Yeah, I rap about music. Do they talk like that? Do Inuits talk like that?
They don't talk with a Chinese
He
accent.
talks like a more Hawaiian style.
Yeah, more Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Welcome to Hawaii.
She's a very attractive woman
Yeah.
that released one song, and basically
So you
everyone's
slide in your DMs, you're like,
Yeah.
so what are you, a fucking ass?
Yeah, that's
Now, there were a lot of 1975 fans, or just people on the internet in general, who were trying to explain this to people who were hearing it out of context, in the sense that this was supposed to be satire and it was supposed to be like overly offensive. But I think that a satirical thing like that, and something that is this very like edgy commentary on a famous person, I think if I was Matty Healy, I would back away from that situation, understanding that that thing's going to get clipped out of context, and all of a sudden everyone is calling you a raging racist. And I'm not saying that he was in the right by explaining what the podcast is about. I still think that the jokes themselves aren't really that funny, and it was just sort of an overall like mess. It's a very kind of a cringe fest now that we see what's happened with it. All of that to say, I still think all of this stuff is pretty disgusting. I want to figure out like the angle that fans of this podcast are going at, so I'm trying to like see how they're justifying it. But personally, I still am in the camp of yeah, the jokes are pretty shitty. If you throw a bunch of dudes in a room and start shitting on like one of the biggest female artists in the world right now, people aren't going to be happy about it, especially when that guy, Matty Healy, gets attached to Taylor Swift. So now Taylor Swift's fans are like, oh my God, he's saying all these offensive things on the Adam Friedland Show the one that I watch every week, which again, I've never seen the podcast, but at least from the clip I watched, I don't really need to see the podcast, you know? I understand how you could put out like an hour of audio content and something could get clipped and misconstrued, but you're like asking for it, you know? If you say stuff like that, you're kind of asking to get people upset and angry with you. And I don't know, there's like all these other controversies also. He like made fun of some fan's name who was Irish and
What's your name?
Dervla.
What? Next one.
I know.
Dervla. It sounds like something you move like gravel with. Dervla. What is?
people online got upset about it. And there was this BLM post he made a few years ago, but he tagged one of his songs and people thought he was promoting his music. He said things on stage that seemed like they were about to be borderline racist.
The guys control the songs, I don't control the songs. They can cut me off at any point when I start, whatever. Whenever I start talking to something they don't like. And I've been thinking about trans people in sports.
So I'm not right-wing, but it's like...
I don't think it's a racist thing to say, oh fuck.
Okay, a black guy, a Jewish guy... It's not up to me. I had this like Indian taxi driver today.
Looking back at these videos, my personal stance is that the joke of every song is obviously that he's about to say something problematic and then the band cuts him off. That's like supposed to happen. So I personally watching it, I think it's very obvious that he's not actually, the joke is that he's a bigoted person getting cut off by the band because he's saying something, but he obviously wasn't actually about to say, he's making fun of it. All this stuff that I think I'm better off moving on from. I think we can understand how we got to the point where Matty Healy is problematic to these Swifties and to a lot of people on the internet. Personally, after all this shit has happened the past few years, I find his actions to be just kind of like dumb, and he's trying to be profound, but it's just not really working for him. And probably in the same way that someone like Matty Healy isn't happy to have the audience demographic he does. He doesn't want to just appeal to like white high school girls, but that happens to be a lot of his base. Not all of it, okay? I'm just saying that happens to be a lot of his base. And so after all of this, when it suddenly seems to be confirmed that Matty is dating Taylor Swift, everyone gets super upset and says that she's problematic now and they don't know what they can do now that Taylor's dating someone who's possibly bigoted, and how would she make this decision? We know Taylor. She's better than that. She's better than that. Again, we don't know anything about these people, okay? They are so beyond what we can understand in terms of the personal shit going on in their lives. But after this Ice Spice stuff happens, Matty Healy starts dating Taylor Swift, and suddenly Taylor is doing a remix of one of her songs with Ice Spice. And then following that, she went out on her tour and brought Ice Spice out on stage in front of, tens of thousands of people and performed the song with her live, I think. And so this whole thing seemed very weird, right? Because we go from Matty Healy making the Ice Spice comments, all of a sudden he's dating Taylor Swift, who is one of the most likable figures in the country. And then Taylor Swift brings out Ice Spice, and it all seems like this cover up for Matty Healy to not be as problematic to people online. All of a sudden, to a lot of people, it comes off as if he's trying to make his public reputation better by dating one of the most likable artists in the country, and then while also having that likable artist platform the woman who he slandered on this podcast. Personally, I'm kind of 50-50 with it. I would not be surprised if Matty Healy and Taylor were just friendly, and if this PR thing happened to try to make it look better, and less than a month later, they break up because it obviously didn't work. People continued to be angry. People continued to call him problematic, and it started getting into Taylor's reputation. Play on words. I didn't even mean to do that. So I don't know. I don't really know enough about these people to make like an educated guess as to what this is all about. But I think it's kind of funny to imagine Matty's PR team doing all of this shit with one of the biggest artists in the world just to fix this guy's reputation, just for it to blow up even more in their face, and now they're broken up again. So does that make sense? Does that cover all of it? People are upset. They're not upset anymore. We move on from life. Don't kiss your fans at your shows. Don't suck on their fingers. Stop eating raw meat. And maybe people will start to like him a little bit more. Oh yeah, so that's it. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole thing, especially if you're more educated about it than I am. And if you want to send me video ideas, follow me on Instagram at nickisnotgreen, or email me, nickisnotgreenmerch@gmail.com. Most of the time I do not respond, but I look at a lot of DMs and I take a lot of it into consideration when planning videos for this channel. So yeah, we'll continue doing the drama thing. Subscribe. Let's beat Nick is Not Green on YouTube. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you probably on Friday. Bye. Oh, also a reminder that you should check out my music with Queef Jerky. It's Dev Lemons and my music. It's our band. And things are going to get pretty big here soon enough for Queef Jerky, okay? I'll play a little snippet of a song we got on the end of this video, okay? Here you go.
Yeah, she was a cop and so I slaughtered her. Yeah, I am the boss, that is my moniker. Yeah, I smell like baby Bradley Cooper. Yeah, I've got the cream and you have got the scooper.